They got all that money.
That's crazy.
Let me go ahead and put this here.
Alrighty.
They got all that money, man.
And won't pay for you. Wow.
Ain't like they could take it with them.
Right.
Well, if you saw the recent interview or interaction, he even said like he doesn't spoil his children.
Who? Tyler Perry?
Yeah, like he says that he wants them to understand, like, hey, I'm the one that's rich. I mean, I kind of get it.
Oh, wow.
You don't want.
So
Oh yeah, you don't want to give them everything, but
they don't have like a
Perfect.
trust fund or like anything?
Well, at least allow me to say this, because cameras going on both sides.
Okay.
One, thank you for setting this up, sir. Thank you for allowing me this opportunity. I know I had y'all waiting. Allow me to make up for it. This is not how I typically do things, but hopefully I was able to make y'all laugh. He was able to gauge my energy, and okay, he's not a bad guy. But other than that, both the cameras are going. You can look at me, you can look at the cameras. I'd say treat this just like, it is an interview, sir, but treat it like a conversation if you want to. Again, you can go into a moniker if you want to, a character if you want to, but anybody who's come to my channel, I like for you guys to be yourselves. Reason being is because, again, like, they're on social media, people only see what we allow them to see when we turn on the camera. But you don't give off that type of
excuse me.
Anyway, thank you for coming to my channel. Thank you for the knowledge and jewels you're about to drop. So with that being said, just introduce yourself and I'll come up with the questions as you speak.
Okay, my name's Kevin Beale, and I am Grand Master of the American Bujutsu Kempo organization, which was a martial art actually founded by my instructor, Supreme Grandmaster RJO. Now, he passed the system down to me in 2016, shortly before his untimely death. So, what American Bujutsu Kempo is its similarity is that of Kaji Kenbo, which was a martial art started in the mid-40s in Hawaii for the locals to protect
1940,
them.
sir? I know probably
yeah,
did. Gotcha.
1945.
Yeah.
Yeah, which was designed to protect the locals against servicemen. It combined karate, jiu-jitsu, boxing, judo, and
Servicemen as in military, sir?
as in military, yeah. The locals.
Oh, okay, okay.
It was designed for the locals to protect themselves against the military that was over in.
So I'd imagine there
Hawaii.
was some level of corruption back then.
Oh yeah.
Okay,
You got to figure 19. That's World War II, pretty much. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I mean, you're talking. Pearl Harbor is
Not funny, but
yeah. We're talking Hawaii. So it's been called really the first mixed martial art because it was started, like I said, in 45 with 5 different grand masters.
Okay.
So American Bujutsu Kempo mimics that, in that we have the fast hands, the striking, the nerve damage, the kicking, the grappling, the throwing, and the breaking. So pretty much.
So there really isn't a base to that martial arts, whether it be the hands, the feet, or grappling. Like it's a well-rounded martial art.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Well-rounded standing martial art. Yes. Without necessarily going to the ground, although there are ground aspects to it too. But I mean,
So
back then their thinking was multiple attacks, which are what you want in a multiple attack situation, as opposed to being taken to the ground. You understand what I'm saying?
No,
One-on-one is okay, but I take you to the ground, but there's 4 other buddies waiting with a pool cue or a bottle. Then while you're going for an arm lock, do you want to do that? No, not really. Want to hit and get out.
I got a good question for you at the end, and I've asked all the martial artists this, but so taking it back to the history that you just gave us. So for you, since you've been in this lifestyle, which is martial arts, for so long, so what was your base like for the camera? So what made you start? What made you want to pursue martial arts?
I'd always been an athlete pretty much, but it's just, I got to to school at a HBCU in West Virginia and met some guys who had studied with Grandmaster Jun Rhee, the father of American Taekwondo in Washington, D.C. So playing around with these guys when we would get together kind of piqued my interest. And then shortly after that, one summer I can remember coming home and taking formal lessons in an Okinawan style called Ishinryu, which is a hard, soft type of Okinawan karate. And then from there it was, back, to messing around with those guys in college. And then I pretty much didn't do anything after that until after I got out. And I'd moved to Washington, D.C., which was mid-'80s. So I needed something to do. So I talked to a couple buddies of mine and everything. So I want.
No.
Yeah, so I wound up finding a Northern Kung Fu style called Ten Shen Pai, and it was being taught by a big black dude, about 6'8". He had played semi-pro basketball, so forth and so. Had grown up in D.C. He had actually trained with the first or only second person to bring that system over to the United States in D.C.'s Chinatown.
Can I ask you a quick question on that? So, for you, when you were learning the Kung Fu aspect of it, was there any discrimination or bias or hardships you faced? Because the understanding I have, Kung Fu, they didn't want Kung Fu in the States. I believe at one point in time they didn't even want martial arts in the States. So with that type of mindset or temperament from and I hope I'm not misspeaking, like China or wherever, did you kind of face hardships in learning in the aspect of Kung Fu, learning that art at that time? Or
I'd have to really say no, because this instructor's instructor had not held anything back in the system when he was training with him in DC's Chinatown. So, it was different, but he didn't really hold pretty much anything back. I mean,
he was comfortable teaching.
He was comfortable teaching, yes.
Okay.
And it was empty hand. It was 2-man sets, which is like a sparring type of dance, if you say, kata, whatever. 2 people going at it. It looks like they're fighting, and it was weapons.
So from as far back as you can remember, sir, respectfully, but as far back as you can remember, like your first bout or your first training in combat contact at that, were you nervous? Did you ever get the jitters? Did you ever
no, because of the guys that I had worked out with in college, no. So when I had gone to that commercial school, even that entire summer, that Ishinryu school, and it was time to spar, I had no problem and did actually quite well. And I was only a white belt because I just started with them. But like I said, I'd had some other stuff, messing with these guys, these older guys in college. So.
No, so the reason why I ask, a lot of them, regardless of their age, whether youngin, seasoned, or whatever, I know for some people, they either go into flight
or fright.
Yeah, and then the other one, I guess, is freeze.
Yeah.
But a lot of people I've talked to, they say no matter what, even to this day, they still get the jitters, But that's why I asked. I said, even for you and the regimes that you've gone through over years, do you still get them, or did you ever get them? So I just wanted to clarify.
Yeah, I would say then. There have been times in the ring with seasoned boxers that I've gotten the jitters with. I mean,
So all that knowledge, because a lot of people I've talked to, so they don't really identify. It is a martial art, but you guys call it knowledge. So with all that knowledge, was it hard for you to retain? Because again, you're learning different aspects. Again, one martial arts focus on kicks, one martial arts focus on punches, one martial arts just strictly takedown. Certain martial arts is like, hey, there's no, we're letting him live. This is a style used for killing. Like, was it hard to you to retain all that knowledge in your years of training, sir?
I just pick and chose what best worked for me, which is what I think anybody should do. I mean, that goes back to even the Bruce Lee sayings: absorb what is useful, discard, the rest. Absorb what is useful, find out specifically what is yours, and then discard the rest.
I got you.
So
in training, like, what were some of the obstacles you faced, like getting your certifications, whether it was certification, training,
Well-
teachers, senseis, like what were some obstacles you faced in your martial arts?
Well, what I had been with, let's get back to the Kung Fu guy in D.C. that I was with. Now, I was with this guy for 8 years,
Okay.
2-3 nights a week. And we're getting ready for a black belt test, and he goes, "Oh no, I'm going to give you a junior black belt." And I'm like, "Huh?" So, in the meantime, I had found the guy that I inherited the system from, who passed away. I had found him. And he was like, "Oh, Kev, he might just be milking you and taking your money, man. You need to cut him loose. We can do more than that." So I'd been listening to him. Said, "Yeah, man, but I wanted to stay around until at least I got my black sash and everything." Then when he came up with this, it was like, "Oh, okay." So, and realistically, if you go into a commercial school and are going to class 2 to 3 times a week, realistically, barring anything, unusual, like you moving out of the area for a while, some major illness or accident or something like that, if you are attending classes 2-3 nights a week, realistically, you should be able to attain a black belt in 3 to 5 years. I was with this guy for 8 years.
So was he, respectfully, but was he scamming you, or did he just want to make sure you were ready? Based on the stats that you gave, like, because you said 2 to 3 nights, you said 2 to 3 years,
Right.
You said 8. So
Yeah, 8 years.
Do you think that I guess there's no answer to that before you left.
Right.
Okay,
Right.
yeah.
Right. In my opinion, I think he was it was milking.
Okay.
I was being milked.
Okay.
I was his first student, so I wasn't paying what all those newer students were paying.
Okay.
I had brought him in business.
Okay.
I had even gotten furniture for his move to his next studio and helped him with that. Did some painting and everything. Now, I'm not saying this needs to equate to that or anything, but I felt that.
You brought value.
Huh?
You brought value.
Yeah, exactly. You see what I'm
So-
saying? So, I should have been, had it gone to 6 years, okay. You know what I mean? But to go to 8 years,
So as a martial artist and an instructor, looking back on a situation like that, right? Sociology type question, but did that leave like a level of, I don't want to say disdain, but like when you look back on it, do you go, because even me, I'm kind of asking, okay, so why, if you did X, Y, and Z, right, for this person and you brought value, in my mind, I'm thinking, all right, well, I don't want to let this person go because outside of martial arts, like as a student, he brings value. Now, whatever that value is, again, value is value. So, again, bringing it full circle, like, looking back on it, do you have like a level of, I wouldn't say hate, but like dislike or disdain about that particular situation?
nah, because I looked at it really as a stepping stone, a learning tool.
Okay.
Because now when I hooked up with this other instructor, he opened my eyes up to so much more, and I was able to attain rank
Okay.
quicker. Now, we trained 2 nights a week for 2 hours. So that's 4 hours of training a week. And the organizations that he was hooked into at the time had various belt level ranking systems that I was easily able to attain. Like I could take a test for multiple ranks and get multiple ranks in the system. Now you had to test in front of the Grand Master for the black belts. But that was when they brought him to where your location was, and he did a seminar. See, so and then you had to pay a black belt fee, but yeah.
So allow me to ask this, because now you pose I'm not in the realm of,
Right.
I respect martial arts. I like
Right.
it. I grew up watching Bruce Lee too, but I'm more Jackie Chan and Jet Li era. But
Yeah.
but I said all that to say this. So it is, I guess you could say it is common, depending on, for instructors to even hold their students back in a sense. And the only reason I ask is, again, somebody from an analytical point said, hey, you've been doing this for X amount of years, it shouldn't be. So from last question on that, then moving on to the next, but I guess you can say, and not in just martial arts, but a teacher or a trainer, there can be some cases, again, I guess if you bring value to that school or that brand, they will hold you back because there's more value in keeping you than letting you go, based on what you think, sir?
Could be. I was with this other guy until he pretty much, like I said, until he died.
Okay.
So, but our classes were very small. If we had a class with 10 people, that was a very, very large class for us.
Okay.
For us, it was between 6 and 8 individuals,
Okay.
2 nights a week for 2 hours.
Okay.
So we weeded out the people that I guess couldn't take it or didn't want to do it, and we were able to progress from then on. So,
Well, thank you for sharing that aspect. Again, I come up with questions as I listen.
Right.
I think if I would ever pursue a martial art, I just maybe know what to watch out for. Not to challenge anybody, but it was just like I didn't think there was a timestamp even in martial arts, because again, it's all training at the end of the day. So with that being said, moving forward, so after you progressed, and a question about your bouts. What was your goals when you got your certification and your belts, or even when you went to competitions, if that makes sense?
I didn't really do an awful lot of competitions,
Okay.
because they were a game of tag, really.
Okay.
So my main purpose or focus and goal was, what could I use in the street that would disable the attacker and allow me to escape. So,
Do you feel like martial arts, regardless of the style, is when I say a necessity, like a life skill man or woman should have?
I think it's one they could easily choose. Yeah. Oh yeah.
So,
But once you get
not
older,
necessarily needed. Not
well, no. I mean, it all depends on what your wants and needs are. Because later on, you can get into Tai Chi, and it's nothing but moving exercise meditation.
Okay.
You know what I mean? When you're in your 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, whatever. So.
Allow me to ask this, sir. So as a teacher, I'm pretty sure over the years you've seen many different temperaments. Like, what, if this makes sense, like what temperament is harder to train? A angry temperament or a sad temperament? A scared temperament? Like, does that question make sense, sir, or no?
What temperament?
Like an angry person, training an angry person, or somebody who's timid, or
Well, I would say training a person who thinks they know it all, as to training a person who doesn't know anything.
Okay.
The person that doesn't know anything, I'd rather work with than the one that knows it all.
Further elaboration on that is because
The one that
they're
knows
less
it all
difficult?
thinks he knows what he's doing and how it should be done.
When they came to you for the guidance and training.
Right. The one I'm taking from, knowing nothing will allow me to mold them into something that ultimately they want to be.
Out of the many years that you've been training, can you count how many times you've actually had to use these life skills, like in real life, to defend yourself?
I could say 3-4 times. Most notably, the ultimate, it would be I was in Jamaica in the 80s, late 80s, and a buddy of mine, we had just gotten there, checked in the hotel, went for a walk to get something to eat. On the way walking back, there was a guy that jumped me, pulled a knife on me. So in the meantime, I could see out of the corner of my eye, it was his buddy was coming too. So now I got two of these guys getting ready to jump me. They both got their knives pulled and everything. So just started laughing at him. I don't think. Why don't you go across the street and mess with the white people? Oh man, we see you have the eye of the tiger. We're not going to do anything. That was probably the best thing. Because in Jamaica, they drive on the other side of the street. So somebody was going to eat a car, a bus, a bicycle, something.
Okay.
The ultimate form of martial arts is being able to actually talk your way out of it without any fisticuffs.
Really? What? No. So
In a self-defense situation,
would you say
the ultimate thing is being able to talk your way out of anything before anybody gets hurt.
good? But I want to make this question make sense. So it's kind of like a lot of people aren't willing to listen. They're just on go. From what I've seen, as far as social interaction, it's like the more scared you come off or the less confrontational you come off, people try to take it there with you. It's kind of like, all right, I'm gonna walk this way. No, you're not. And it's kind of like, okay, well, I'm gonna walk this way. No, you like, and then it's that look of surprise when you do defend yourself, which I feel like is a very satisfying look to me, because it's kind of like, oh shit, this guy's a threat to me.
Well, if you've got no other way out of it, then you must,
That oh shit look.
Yeah.
Now let me stop. But yeah, no.
I mean, that's in the old Ed Parker American Kempo Code. I come to you with only hands and feet. But if I am forced to defend myself, I will use my hands and my feet.
Allow me to ask this. So how many, out of the vast knowledge and years you've been training, right? How many students have you had?
About 100 or so.
So what's the most rewarding thing about being a teacher, a master? Like, for you, what's the most rewarding thing? Teaching this knowledge out to others.
Well, I don't think there are any masters, even though they're called grand masters and masters anything. I don't think you can master anything. So
Okay.
I think it's the learning and the sharing and the passing on the knowledge.
Okay.
I pass. It's like baking a cake. We may start off with the same ingredients, but then I may take some stuff out that you may add, and vice versa. So I give the people a blueprint, and then I let them take their own path with that.
Yes, sir. I had a brain fog. Damn, it was a really good question too. I paused. I got the attention span of a squirrel, so I apologize.
And I teach people different ways. Like if you were training with me, I would teach you a little bit different than Jeffrey. Simply because of size, the weight, and I mean, the physical attributes and so forth and so on.
So how do you identify what somebody needs during training? Like, so let's say Jeffrey is more fierce than I am. Like
Okay.
he has a more fierce attitude, and versus me, who has a very withdrawn, like I don't want to hurt nobody type attitude.
I would get Jeffrey to slow down on his fierceness and get you to up your focus and concentration.
What age ranges have you trained? Have you trained obviously youngest, but
From what, 4 or 5 years old on up?
is it easier to train the kids than it is the adults?
Well, the kids, when they're that age, it's mainly motor skill work. It's not really self-defense. It's self-defense, but it's not really self-defense. It's only when you get into the adults that you can do some of the stuff. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, sir. No. I do. So, fuck. That question came back up, and that camera. All right, we're good. Martial arts over the years, it's changed from way back, whatever years to now. So, do you feel like martial arts is less lethal because everybody keeps trying to reinvent it? Like even like old style jiu-jitsu versus the jiu-jitsu of today, like
The ground jiu-jitsu versus the stand-up jiu-jitsu, yeah.
So
Yeah.
do you feel like martial arts is being I guess, tampered to where it's not basically not to kill. If that does that question make sense versus how it was back in the day.
Is it more Budo is what you're asking? Because back in the day it was more Budo,
I'll
which
say
is
that.
which is you know I've got to take you out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Martial art wise, I'd probably say yeah.
Why is that? Why do you think martial arts has changed and gotten softer?
I think that there's a lot of soft instructors out there. There's
Mm-hmm.
instructors that don't really train for the street. They train more for sport tournament,
Okay.
which is fine. Don't get me wrong. nothing
Is
wrong
that
with
is that
sport.
our fault as a society because we're not, I guess, as dangerous as we were back then?
Yeah, and our times now don't call for us to be. He looked at you wrong. I got to kill him. You know what I mean? So, you know what I mean? He cut me off. Well, I've got to shoot him. You know what I mean? So.
I got you. I got you.
right.
So, do you think that'll cause martial arts to go obsolete a lot faster if it is getting softer?
I don't know, man. I really couldn't tell you. I will tell you that, in my opinion, martial arts, when you talk about martial arts, is actually rooted in Africa. Now, the Asians may have developed it a little bit better, but you go and look at the Egyptian hieroglyphics, and you can see the sword hand and the crane beak and the stances and everything in martial art, and not only karate but also kung fu that they were doing back then. Now, society will never let you. They don't want you to know about that. But martial arts has its roots in, because where does man have his roots? It's not Europe.
Africa, Egypt?
It's Ethiopia. Yeah. Well, it's all part of Africa, right. So,
Okay.
I mean, you know what I mean?
So
So-
I guess you could say that's probably, because I was about to ask that next question. What is a misconception people may have about martial arts in general? But I guess that
And,
can be it.
I looked at a YouTube video the other day about the 7 top masters of ninjutsu, and not once was Professor Ronald Duncan, a black man from Panama, who opened up a ninjutsu school in '64, mentioned. Not even mentioned, man. Stephen Hayes was, but Stephen Hayes was going over to see Hatsumi before while Duncan's school was still was alive and thriving. Not once is this guy was this in this documentary. Now you go to YouTube, you go Google it up, and you look at Father of American Jiu-Jitsu. They're going to probably say Hayes, but then there's a little addendum underneath there. The first person that actually started was Ronald Duncan in '64.
So with that, sir, so why do you think, because that is kind of like history, that's a part
Right.
of history, so why do you think even in martial arts they try to remove that from the culture, if that makes sense?
I blame it on overall racism. You know?
Take that.
You know what I mean? So,
Okay. Well, sir, allow me to just ask one more question, and then we'll end it here. I want to say one, thank you for your time, but my question, like overall, like what's the biggest takeaway do you feel like people in general need to know about martial arts and self-defense, sir?
it's about self-defense, then know what you're doing. Keep it basic. Keep it as simple as you can. The goal of self-defense is actually to walk away from a confrontation, not to beat the person down until until they die. And as far as martial arts, start as soon as you can. And if you're not being pressured into it enough and you start to enjoy it, expand on as many arts as you can. You don't have to take these different arts, but look and see what they're doing and just try to learn.
You know, you posed another question. I apologize, sir. Like I said, I think of these as I go. So I've asked every martial art, whether it's kung fu, karate, capoeira, all that other stuff. Do you feel like it's harder for somebody soft in nature to want to learn martial arts again versus somebody who's probably? I feel like some people are just built for conflict. Do you feel like it's harder for people who are not to like want to pursue and learn it? Or is that just one of those that just falls on the individual?
Yeah, it falls on the individual. Yeah.
Okay. Well, Jeffrey, on some real shit, thank you again. I know a little bit delayed. I appreciate this opportunity. Sir, thank you for the knowledge base that you have given me and my channel and my audience. I do again apologize for making y'all wait. He's gonna be a continued guest on my channel. If you have any students that you feel like that you would like to bring to my audience and my channel and want to give their perspective, please let me know and I'll have a sit down with them. You know, I've learned with everybody I talk to, powerlifters, content creators, fitness influencers, like every perspective is everything. And again, I have a vast amount of perspectives when it comes to like people in their journey, whether it's fitness, martial arts, but I really appreciate you for your perspective. I appreciate you for your time. Again, all I can say is just thank you. Thank you so much. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And we are out. Ooh.